Hello, everyone, and welcome to Tabor Talk. I figured I'd do another one of these. I can't wait to get out of my basement, do my videos on my deck. Spring is coming, but you wouldn't know. We got a foot of snow yesterday, and it was with the drifts. I took my dog out for a walk last night. It went in over his head. It was up to, I'm telling you, like 2 feet drifts higher. So, anyway, getting right into it. Really excited. March Madness started on Tuesday. The first two games have been played today. What was it? Texas A&M, Corpus Christi won in Pittsburgh, beat Mississippi, Mississippi State. But this is the first four. Not really a huge deal. The real tournament doesn't kick off until Thursday. My Nets lost, kind of a heartbreak. Could have had an amazing road trip. They were up by 16 in the first half. They ended up losing. But whatever, not such an important deal. They're kind of in that fifth, sixth seed, kind of the Knicks and Nets kind of battling for fifth seats, fifth, sixth, back and forth. Anyway, and the Yankees are coming in a couple of weeks. So a lot of exciting stuff in the world of sports. Bert Kreischer, episode number 1954 for Joe Rogan. Nearing that 2000 episode mark. As we know, Joe's very first podcast was on Christmas Eve, December 24th, 2009. It was with Brian Redband. You could go back and see them, by the way. I liked them. Some of his older stuff, Joe says that his older podcasts were terrible. I totally disagree. I mean, they were totally spontaneous, no script or anything. Not that Joe has a script now. He does some preparation for some guests, and I think Joe is a much better guy. Not that I'm saying Joe's a great guy, by the way. Let me be clear about this. And it's just that he used to be his politics. He used to be more on my side. I used to agree with him on almost 100% politically. And he's definitely leaned toward the right. I've done so many videos on this, how Joe has changed. So still love the show, but it's not like he's kind of a dick. Now you can be a dick. If you're not like in his circle, right? If you're Joe Rogan's friend, like there is no better guy. Like he is super loyal, not a backstabber. He's not a gossip, like shit that happens in the news. Like his friend Brian Callen was there rape accusations, doesn't bring it up. Dana White didn't talk about Dana White smacking his wife. And now I'm getting to his guest on today, or actually it was yesterday. It was Bert Kreischer. Okay. All right. Let me just say this. I like Bert. I think he's a really nice guy. He really is. I've always liked him. I remember his first appearance on Joe. What was that, 2013, 2014? I go, what a nice guy. Wasn't really that famous. He was actually talking about it earlier. But it's like, he is, let me just play a little bit for this.
Out doing stand-up. The idea that making a living doing stand-up was crazy. Like, we always had jobs, right?
All right.
Everybody had
I'm not
jobs
gonna
in the
play
beginning.
this for a
So you're
second.
like, imagine if I could
I
only
just
pay
want
my
you
bills through comedy. That's insane.
Until
And then when you get there,
Go
then you're
simple.
like, oh, how come he's got an HBO special?
Yeah.
I don't have an HBO special. It's like, it's so easy to get caught up in the stupid parts.
Talking about
and just
stardom
not
and all that.
appreciate it. Not appreciate your health.
Come on, Joe.
Not appreciate, like,
Show
that's
Bert.
the feeling that I always get if I ever get sick, is that feeling when I get sick, like, oh my God, this is terrible. I am going to appreciate health so much more as soon as I get
He
better.
talks about this all the
Because
time.
when you feel like run down and tired and weak, you're like, oh no, what an awful feeling. Like, I have to
Like, it's so
recognize
obvious.
that
It's like
my
Psychology
health is
101.
it's of utmost priority. You got to be healthy.
I'll get to it when the camera's on Bert Kreischer. So we all know what Bert Kreischer looks like. Joe repeats himself. Like some of his stories I've heard, and I'm not exaggerating, probably 100 times. And what's incredible, I guess he's a professional comedian. He tells the stories with the same enthusiasm as if he were saying it for the first time. But if you're a regular like me, I listen to every minute of every podcast. It can be quite annoying. And Joe is great and all that, but he can be he can be annoying. There's no question about it. He's pretty annoying, like repeating his stories and whatever. So Bert Kreischer, nice guy, but now he is selling out arenas. Let me repeat that, arenas. Like, and if you see clips, go on YouTube, Bert Kreischer, it's like, holy shit, like crowd, like tens of thousands of people standing ovation, like, and he's basically just a fat guy. He's a fat guy who's kind of funny, you know, like you go to a party and there's kind of a funny drinker. He's like that. He's like a John Belushi. I'm aging myself here, but not even in Belushi. Belushi was fucking hilarious. And let me just tell you, for the younger people watching, this John Belushi from Saturday Night Live, Second City before that, 70s, right? Mid 70s, absolute best. He was super hot from like 75 until he like died in 1981. But in fact, I watched Animal House, it was on Netflix a couple of weeks ago, and it still holds up. It's still funny. I've seen it many times, and I was cracking up a lot of it. John Belushi is hilarious. Bert Kreischer is not John Belushi. He's kind of like a poor man's John Belushi. I don't know if that makes any sense. But so anyway, Bert is telling Joe, like back when they first met, like 2012, 13, right around that area, right around that time frame. And he was saying, I wanted to be famous in the worst way. Like he said, I knew Dane Cook, and I was like, oh, I wanted to be that fucking guy. Like, oh, Dane Cook, he's friends with Tom Hanks and Brad Pitt. Oh my God, Jerry Seinfeld, like that big time. He goes, I wanted it in the worst way. I had like 3,000 Twitter followers, and there you go. And now he has it, and he's basically saying it's not exactly what I thought it was. Like, duh, no kidding. You never arrive at your destination. No, even the biggest stars, we're just people, right? We're just people. And yeah, if you're a fucking blue collar dude, regular guy going to an office and you're making 30, 40,000 a year, maybe a little bit more, you have a family and, and like you hear this guy's got fucking 5 houses. He's got a private jet, I think. He's got a jet. He's always thrown it up on YouTube. He's selling out arenas, and he's a marginal talent. Nice guy, but marginal talent. Let me just play a little bit more, and then I'll wrap this up.
Think about it when you get sick, because when you're healthy, you think about all kinds of stupid
No
shit.
kidding,
You don't think about
Joe.
make sure you don't get sick. But when you're sick, you're like, oh my God, I've got to get healthy. Nothing matters until you're healthy. If someone could say, look, you could stay sick for the rest of your life, but you never have to work again. You're going to have unlimited income, but you're going to feel like absolute dog shit every day. You'd be like, no, that's not a life. That's not life. No. Life is when you're healthy. And no one thinks like that when they're healthy. Because when you're healthy, you just think about stupid shit. Like, why don't I have the car
That's
that
true.
I want? Why does she have those shoes?
But
and
it's
I
just
don't?
stating
Why
the
is
obvious.
this and
It's
that?
like, I know, no
caught
kidding.
up in your own fucking head.
Dude, what? So
There's
I woke
Bert.
up this
Okay, there you
morning.
go. I just wanted to show
we-
Bert.
we-
Actually, he's
we
not
were
as
on last
fat.
night, but
All right.
I woke up this morning and I was wondering what your motivation was. Because I woke up and I had slept on my hand, and so my hand was asleep in the morning. So I was like, I had a stroke.
Oh.
And
So he's
then
very
I-
likable,
I
you
thought
know what I
you were
mean?
gonna tell me you jerked off to the
Self-deprecating.
dead hand. Put it on there and just
should have.
numb-handed it.
All
God,
right.
I wish you'd have been in bed
I
with
don't
me.
want to play the whole
Give
thing.
you advice.
I haven't listened to the whole thing yet. I'm at that point, actually. So, okay, I'm coming up on 10 minutes. So there you go, Bert Kreischer. Oh, by the way, he's coming out with a movie. That's what I wanted to talk about. This machine. I don't know if people are familiar with his bit. He's been doing it forever. First time he did it was actually on Joe. It's kind of a cute story. It's all right, but they make such a big deal. Like his fans are like, the machine, the machine. And I'm like, really? Like, it's fucking lame, actually. It's kind of dorky. It's a nice little story. And here's the thing, they're making a movie about it. Like, what is it? What does he think he's fucking Tom Hanks? What the fuck is going on here? So, all right, I wish him well. He was talking about envy. I get it. Like, how does this marginal talent get so fucking successful? Oh, Joe Rogan, duh. My wife gets annoyed with Joe himself. Like, basically, Joe, that contract was for $200 million, a 3-year with Spotify, $200 million. Not to mention all the other income he has from UFC, the stand-up comedies, and his nightclub just opened last week, or was it earlier this week? The Comedy Mothership. That's a fucking dorky name too. Whatever. That's another video. Joe could be a dork too at times. So, and he's not very subtle. Let me rephrase this. He jokes go over his head. There are videos on YouTube. You could see this clips where the comedians on a show are doing some jokes, and Joe doesn't get it. Like zoom, zoom. I'm going to do another video on this. So Joe is kind of an airhead. Like some people say he's stupid. He's not stupid. I think he's a genius actually, but he's got holes, and he's kind of a bubblehead, and he's obviously ideologically captured by the right. He always talks about the left being ideologically captured. He is the quintessential example of someone being ideologically captured by the right. So okay, I'm over 10. More to come. Better videos too. Absolutely better videos to come. Springtime. I wanted to get this one in. Tabor Talk. Good friends, good books, and a sleepy conscience. Peace, love, and understanding.